T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The promised land.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. We're here to look. We've gone from all the high of winning the Carabao Cup to a low, I suppose, talking about the Glazers, talking about the greedy Glazers, and talking about the sale of Manchester United. Quite a bit has happened and developed over the weekend, but because of the Carabao Cup, all the focus was on the cup final. Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, we got the cup final in the bag. Now our attention turns back to what I would say is the single most important thing to happen to our football club since Fergie retired, since Ten Hag, no, since Fergie retired. We need to get the Glazers out. I apologise. I've got a bit of a cough this morning. I think that's a delayed reaction to, constantly drinking at the weekend and going to a cup final. Yeah, let me off. All right. I might be coughing a little bit this morning, but good morning to the best community in the world. YouTube and Facebook, both of you. Who's joining in? Jonathan Leo, good morning to you. Harminder Bully, I can see you there as well. Ian Robinson, we've got Dada Michael, we've got Garlic Bread Man. What a name. Ruman, good morning to you. Teresa, Paula, I can see you there. T, I can see you there. Josh, Sigmund, I think I spotted you. Daisy, who's on Facebook? We've got Mark Fossey, good morning to you, sir. We've got Debbie. We've got... There's loads of you. Good morning to all of you. Hope you're doing well. And look, I can't wait for the Glazers to leave. On Sunday, we saw Avram Glazer at the game. First time, I believe, since the first game this season. I don't think... Remember, nobody knew that he was going to the game in the first game of the season. But I will run through the latest from the Financial Times this morning, the latest from James Ducker from the Telegraph, the latest from The Athletic, from Mike Keegan and the Daily Mail. And I should hopefully later on today be having a conversation with Ben Jacobs and speaking about what's the inside story. Is there anything else? Because this week should be a big week with the Rain Group expected to reach out to the formal bidders. So we know Sheikh, Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani and that private bid from Qatar and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's INEOS are the two big formal bids that have gone in, but lots of other investment firms. Was it Elliott Group Management? And there was another one. I can't remember the name of it. But there's a couple of investment funds that are looking to try and go in there and make a quick buck. Let's run through the story here. First thing I want to talk about. Look, on Sunday, Casemiro's there winning the Carabao Cup. And on Monday, he's there being named in the FIFA Pro Best 11 alongside Mary Earps, who I believe is Manchester United's goalkeeper. Congratulations to both of them. Casemiro's lifting trophies on a Sunday, lifting awards on a Monday. I think, weirdly enough, I think that was the first time that Casemiro was ever named inside that FIFA Pro Best 11, which seems a bit weird. How on earth is that the first time that he has been involved in that? But he was involved in it. Look at that. Gungshi, good morning to you, my Don. Oh, look. Apologies. You've been a member for 6 months. Nice. Gifted 5 memberships as well. Even nicer. Thank you very much, Gungshi, as always. I'd love to have your input, Gungshi, and everybody else, in terms of, I suppose I can say that at the start of the show. I keep saying it a lot, but your gifted memberships are really helping take this community to somewhere I never really thought it could be. I'm in conversations with bringing on a community manager because I've got loads of ideas. I'm going to be making the logic is to make a website for the United People's TV community because I think there's so much more that we can do for this community. So that's something that I'm going to fund by your gifted membership. So it's all the generosity you show. It's being reinvested back into the channel is the point I'm trying to make. So big up to every single one of you who do this almost on a daily basis. It blows my mind, but it's fantastic and it's helping take this channel upwards. But yeah, congratulations to Mary Earps and to Casemiro, both winning awards last night at the FIFA Pro Best 11. I don't even know what, because it wasn't the Ballon d'Or. I don't even know. Is it like just FIFA Team of the Year awards? I don't really know, man. I don't really know. Anyway, it's an award for Casemiro. Yesterday, I did half of my video on Casemiro and half my video on Erik ten Hag. I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do. I wanted to do a video on Ten Hag, and I also wanted to do a video on Casemiro. So I was like, you know what? Sod it. I'm going to do a video on both of them. Because in my opinion, I think they're emerging as the two leaders. Obviously, Ten Hag quite literally is the leader as our manager. But I feel Casemiro is going to be his general on the pitch. Now, Martinez is somebody who I know is that sort. Maybe I'm a little bit traditional in thinking that your most influential players, I think I'm skewed by from what I've seen with Roy Keane. Because as a midfielder, you're literally in the center of it all. The ability to influence a game front to back, in my opinion, is more significant as a midfielder compared to anywhere else on the pitch. Casemiro might have broken. Does he have broken English? I think he does. I'm not sure if he actually does speak English yet. I think he said he was learning when he came in. But Casemiro is. Imagine calling him a steady Eddie. Really, imagine calling him a steady Eddie. It's ridiculous. Tavio, I see this quite a lot, right? A few people. I cannot describe to you how busy I personally am. I'm constantly trying to cover every single aspect of Manchester United. Me not speaking about the women's team is something I'm trying to work on. I will be bringing other people in, but I know it's not you doing it, Tavio, there, but there's quite a few people like, oh, you never talk about the women's team. It's like, I don't know. I know I need to. I'm going to. It's in the plans. If you can read what's up on that board there, which you won't see, that's private information. But trust me, all right? I know it needs to be covered more. It's kind of a habit of people online, though. Instead of speaking about all the positive things you're doing, you go, oh, what about this thing you're not speaking about? Well, that's not what I'm talking about. It's odd. Picking holes, I suppose. But let's go to the headline of the show. And let's have a full recap here of everything that's happened in these last, I suppose, 48, 72 hours on the Glazers, on the sale of Manchester United. Because Avram Glazer was there at Wembley on Sunday. The dirty snake. The absolute dirty snake. I love this, though. I'm not sure if you saw this. That's Avram Glazer there, looking down on the United fans. And yep, it's a well-placed banner. Avram, mate, look down. He knows, but they don't care. They're like politicians, the Glazers. They are just like Matt Hancock this week. Did you see that video of him wearing the Newcastle shirt that he was supposed to give away in an auction? And then he released another video going, oh, the person who bought it in an auction gave it back to me as a present. Someone who's caught politicians who caught. I'm laughing. It's not funny. Politicians who are caught lying, and their reaction is to lie some more. The Glazers do not give a toss about public opinion of them. They never have. When they took over the club, they did it amid protests. There's been protests in 2010, the green and gold protests, when the bond release happened. There was protests in 2021. There's protests in 2022. And there are protests now in 2023. They don't care, really, what the fans think. They just want as much money as possible. And now let's speak about the update. Kieran, I can see you there joining as a member again, buddy. Nice to see you there. Iron Potato, you're saying, look, I got a bit giddy with the donations. Oh, you... See, that's a very good comment. That's excellent banter. I hate that word banter. Personally, I don't know why I just used it, actually. Look, that wallet has all been cancelled. New cards en route. New wallet is en route. It is what it is. The damage happened on Sunday. But let's speak about the updates. Now, the main update came off the back of this. A report from the Financial Times on Saturday saying that the Glazers wanted more money for Man United. Let's go through the main headlines from this article and see what the reaction was in the market. The debt-free bid by Sheikh Jassim is expected to value the club at roughly $4.5 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. The value of Ratcliffe's bid has not been disclosed. And the report said that the Glazers, as we know, right, are in no rush to reach a decision and are under no pressure to sell. I would disagree with the second part of that. They definitely are under pressure to sell. is why they've reached this point. If the Glazers weren't under pressure to sell, this conversation wouldn't exist. They wouldn't be looking for strategic investment alternatives, quote unquote. They are under pressure to find, maybe not to sell the club then, maybe to find, Manchester United requires money. They don't want to spend any. Something's got to give there. Something's absolutely got to give. And then we can see what the reaction was in the market. This is what happened yesterday. Bear in mind, this happened after Manchester United lifted our first trophy in 6 years. All right. The stock price dropped by another 9%. Now, it's still above where it was prior to when the Glazers said they were going to look for alternatives back in November. But the artificial high that was created when the Qatari bid went in has now started to really correct itself. Another 10% dropped off. If you look at how much that's dropped in these last few days, we can go down here in the month. We can see the peak that went up here, $26, and that was 11 days ago. In 11 days, it's dropped from $27 back down to $20, right? And if we were to look at that over a 6-month period, we can still see that that big, huge boost came in there. So it's still $7 up per share on where it was before the Glazers said they were going to sell. But the big high that came in after the soft bids has now dropped just significantly because of this. Because the markets are now reacting. Look, a little bit. First of all, it's a little bit of the actual New York Stock Exchange just has had a bit of a downturn. I'm not saying that this is just an isolated incident. But there's a definite fear in the market about the fact that the Glazers might not sell. And now I'm going to read through a couple of important articles, one from James Ducker from The Telegraph, one from The Athletic, and also an update from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail. And we all know that Mike Keegan was the journalist who actually led with the story about the Qatari bid. So when it comes to this particular story here, it's obvious that it does have some sources. Let me read through some of your comments first. I'll head back and see if anyone... Jake, man, look at that. JVD, man. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much, man. 20 gifted memberships. Honestly, can someone do a case study? Can someone just look? Does this exist anywhere else? Because I refuse to think it does. Every single day, the conversation's great in the comments. It's welcoming. It's a genuine community. That's why I want to bring on that community manager. That's why I'm looking to build a website. What else am I doing? We've got more perks coming, more giveaways, members-only videos. We're going to have a newsletter that's going to be coming. There you go. There's a little teaser for you there. We've got some more merch. There's loads of stuff. There's loads of ideas. And you're all helping me, giving me the ability to sort of execute these ideas. So thank you all. Thank you very much, JVD, and to everyone down there. And look, Cowzow, you gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you, dude. That's the first time I've seen your name down there with gifts. It's like Santa's everywhere in this place. Absolute amazing. Alex saying, on behalf of everyone reading, thank you very much for that, Alex. Indeed, I can't say thank you enough. I really, really can't. But let's head through here now. I apologize if I don't read your comments out for a couple of minutes. Let's read this from James Ducker. Does Manchester United's success mean the Glazers will stay? Now, he's saying that they are believed to be targeting a £5 billion plus bid. Now, we know full well. Actually, no, we don't know full well. And that's something that I think is quite an important point to put on this. We've got no confirmation of how much the actual bids are from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani or INEOS. And I don't think we ever will. I don't really see the benefit to those bids of going public with how much it is, unless they're trying to get into that. I mean, actually, no, you can see some value in them releasing that information, but we don't know. Sorry. Don't drink, kids. Really don't drink. It's so hard to do this after doing that. It's part of the reason why I don't enjoy going to games as much anymore. I think I need to go sober. Vicky, thank you so much down there. Gifting, man, Bully as well. Man, all of you. I can't wait to build this website, build this like proper home. Telegram is great, It's only a place we can chat, but I want to bring out things like player ratings and polls and things to make everything so much more interactive. Ah, my God. Drinking is bad. Drinking is bad indeed. Let's run through this article from James Ducker. He said, for almost 2 decades now, the Glazers have absorbed all manner of angry protests and fan fury to carry on doing things their way. And in that respect, it is hard to believe they will suddenly get jumpy about the inevitable backlash if they did decide against selling. That's exactly what I'm saying there. They've dealt with protests the entire time they've owned the club. This is an important part here. That decision will ultimately come down to money. And as things stand, the indications are that the bidders who have publicly declared their hand, we know that, Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Thani and INEOS, will have to increase their initial offers to convince the Glazers to sell. It certainly would be no surprise now if a high-stakes game of poker ensued over the next coming weeks. More may become known about the Glazers' specific demands and intentions as the days unfold, but their purported £5 billion plus asking price is reflective of the rare opportunity to buy one of the most prized assets in world sport. And the Americans are banking on someone being prepared to pay a premium for this most precious of commodities. God, I hate the language it gets associated here. But effectively, what we expected to happen is happening. The bids have come in. We actually, no, that's a bit of a lie. We all expected a bit more than 2 bids, didn't we? I expected 5. We've got 2. Now, I don't particularly count any sort of investment or hedge fund as a bid. I'm talking about 2 full offers to buy Manchester United. There's 2 main ones. The Glazers wanted more. They've lost a little bit of negotiation power in that sense. But what the Glazers are being told is this, right? And this is the issue. This is coming from the Athletic Manchester United Takeover. There are no assurances that the Glazers are going anywhere. And this is what they're being told in their ear. Depending on who you talk to, the price the Glazers want to obtain before selling United varies. Some say they want in the region of 8 billion, while others indicate it's close to 6 billion, but that they could go as low as 5. Joe Ravitch, the Rain banker, who is leading the negotiations, is said to have recommended that they do not part with United for anything less than £6 billion. Now, remember who the Rain Group are in this situation. The Rain Group are the advisors. The Rain Group are the group that organised the sale of Chelsea to Todd Bowley, and the Clearwater Lake, Clear Lake Water Group? Don't know. Todd Bowley. Doesn't really matter who it was. It's that same bank that's advising the Glazers on the right and the wrong things to do. And it all fits into this idea that the Glazers are asking for more. That the Glazers, and again, this, as I said, this should come. Honestly, I said this on Twitter yesterday. How can you have that complexion there? Like you have no idea what the sun is. You live in Florida and you're a millionaire. How is it even possible? It doesn't make any sense. It really, really doesn't make any sense. I'm going to read. There's a couple of super chats here, and I want to make sure I didn't miss any gifts down there as well. I don't think I did. No, good. Tina, you're saying the one reason they are considering to stay that we are in the Champions League next season, then they can get more money. Tina, that's the Champions League, and the value of that is going to be factored into anything to do with costings and to do with future revenue predictions and cash flows, X, Y, Z. So I don't think it necessarily means that they hold on for a year and then sell next year, because that's going to be factored in. You know what, the way I look at this, right? The way I look at the idea that the Glazers are asking, the Rain Group have recommended them to ask for 6 billion. It's in my mind anyway. This is how I'm looking at it. It's a little bit like how the transfer market operates now, because when clubs sell players, I think clubs sell players and they add on an extra X amount of million because they want to earn part of what that future earnings could be, the future earnings potential. Obviously, certain clubs get involved and they have like a 10, 20, 30% sell-on fee. So if the club does sell on, they actually get some back. But I think it's factored into the prices of players now. You don't necessarily pay for what the player is worth now. You're paying a little bit of a premium on top for what that player could be worth if X, Y, Z were to happen. I feel like that's what the Glazers are doing here because they know full well that the value of Manchester United is going to be firing upwards once this investment goes in. And it feels like they want a slice of that pie without putting any of their own money in, which is pure Glazers. It's pure greed. It is utter pure greed. And unfortunately for United, something else that complicates this situation even more is the actual Glazer family. It almost feels like this could be a video unto itself because there's 6 siblings, right? If I remember correctly. Joel, Avram, Darcy, Edward, Kevin, and Brian, I think. I've actually remember those. So 6 of them. It's Joel and Avram. There's Avram Glazer right there. Joel Glazer, you know who Joel Glazer is. You don't see the other 4 because the other 4, they would have already cashed out of Manchester United at an earlier stage had they got their own way. But it's Joel and Avram who have got their claws in. It's Joel and Avram who are the issues here and who are driving this greed. This idea that there's no assurance the Glazers are going anywhere. It still strikes me as the most likely scenario is that the Glazers do sell Manchester United and we get new owners in. And that what we're looking at here is a very public... Look, you saw it right there. High stakes game of poker. I think is a pretty accurate way to describe what's going on right now. And it's striking the fear of God into everyone. It's certainly striking the fear into the market itself with Manchester United, as I said, coming down from that artificial high. The Glazers are pretty much hoping to force Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani and that private bid from Qatar to really, really pay up, to pay over market value. Because Manchester United are not worth £6 billion. I don't actually know what the correct value is in the market because I don't know how many shares there are. I think there might be like 130 million shares. I need to figure that out. I can't do that live on screen here because I actually don't know how many shares there are. But what I can tell you is Manchester United are not worth £6 billion. If I'm correct, I believe the current world record was Denver Broncos, who I think they went for around about, what was it, like somewhere between $4 and $4.5 billion, I think. And that's currently the most money that's ever been paid for a sports franchise. And that concept there, that the Glazers would want $6 billion. What's $6 billion in dollars? What's the exchange rate these days? XE. Let me try this. 0 is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's a lot. £6 billion into USD. That would need to be double, wouldn't it? $7.3 billion. So Denver Broncos there went for 4.65. That's the sort of scale we're talking about here. Unbelievable. And by the way, and this is something that always infuriates me, like look at Manchester United's commercial revenue, right? The years are down at the bottom. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the years at the same time. You can see where Manchester United, I've spoken about this for quite a long time, right? When 2016 came along, Manchester United flatlined. The commercial model was working. Ed Woodward came up with the idea. I think that was when we introduced regional sponsorships. At that point, Manchester United had big sponsors like Chevrolet and Nike and huge overall global sponsors, but he broke it down on a regional scale started getting noodle sponsors specifically in Japan and tire sponsors specifically in Kazakhstan or whatever it was. Other clubs copied that. But since 2016, our commercial growth has stagnated massively. So the idea that we're worth 6 billion, it really genuinely is absolutely not based in reality. We are worth nowhere near 6 billion. But this is just the graders, the graders, the Glazers being greedy. And unfortunately, if there's one thing we can say about the Glazers, is we know how greedy they are. And we know that they do not care about anything else or anybody else as long as they get their money. It's what they've done at United this whole way through. So if that, and I think, you know what's making this all the more, what's making this worse, right? I was going to mention this later, but I'll bring this up now. What's making this worse is for the first time in so long, I think a lot of us can sit there and confidently say, we're heading in the right direction as a football club. We've got the right manager. We've won our first trophy in 6 years. The overwhelming sense of positivity for our football right now is amazing. And I think that is what is making it all the worse. This idea that the Glazers are just going to sit there and maybe try and use that to their advantage. Maybe try and squeeze a bit more out of someone. That's all they're doing. This is ultimately a negotiation tactic, right? If you're selling a house, you might think your house is worth, yeah, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this house. I've done so much work. And you go, all the other houses on this street are worth 300 grand. I don't care. I think my house is worth more. I'm going to put it up for 400 grand. See what happens. It's kind of what the Glazers are doing. They don't care about what the markets say the value of Manchester United is or what the value of Manchester United truly is, because we're a New York Stock Exchange listed company. They're just putting up what they want and what they think Manchester United is worth, even if all the data suggests otherwise. That's them being greedy. So at this point, something's going to have to give. I'm going to run through the Mike Keegan update on what we're expecting to hear this week. I'm going to head down here. There's a couple of super chats, and I'll read a few of your other comments out as well. Jibak, what are you saying? Financial Times article recently said that United's actual value is 1.3 billion. Well, I think it'll be a little bit more than that. I suppose that's factoring into the idea that Manchester United have got around about 600 billion pounds worth of debt, around about 200 to 300 million pounds worth of monies owed to other clubs. Our debt and monies owed is in the region of around about 1 billion, if not a little bit more. So that's going to take money off the actual value of the club. Money required for investment in infrastructure, I don't think that's factored in too much, but 1.3, I think that's a little bit low. I'll be completely honest. John, you're saying apparently 1.7 billion. It must be more than that. Mark, you're saying, who decided on the green and gold streamers with the fireworks at the cup? Give that man a medal. I did see that. It's not a coincidence. Okay, indeed. I think I missed a super chat there from Phil. Is it just me, or does the pic of Fergie look like he's pointing at the Glazer about to slap him? Let's have a little zoom in on that bad boy. Fergie's there. He's actually got a little, you can't see it, but he's got cyanide and he's about to just shove in his gob. He's not going to poison him. Maybe, could consider it. Could absolutely consider it. Let me read a few of your comments out down here. Tobias, I've always kind of thought this, but I mean, it'd be extremely difficult to organize on the scale that would be required. It would be. And I know, I'm pretty sure the 58 have had conversations around this as well, but it's extremely difficult. Difficult and different. I'm making words up now. Osman, he's saying, I'll tell you, brother, I watched many fan channels and I love yours, and was even celebrating getting 20 gifted. This is definitely its own monster of a community. It is a monster of a community, man, and that's why I'm bringing someone on to work alongside me with it. It's so amazing, this community, that it needs more focus than I can give it, whilst at the same time doing all the content. So I'm going to be juggling both, and that's why I'm going to be bringing someone on alongside me, and that's all because of the amazing generosity of you. Honestly, this community in the next few months, it's gonna be amazing. It's going to be amazing, and the home that it's going to have, I can't wait to build it, man. Anthony saying, I'm surprised you got away from Wembley. I'm not, man. Rich people just hide. Probably nobody saw him leave Wembley. He would have just gone straight into a car with blacked out windows. You wouldn't even know where he was. Linton, you're saying you fear the Glazers. Look, maybe it's the eternal optimist in me, but I don't personally fear that the Glazers won't leave. I think the Glazers are going. I think at the crossroads of where Manchester United are now, with the amount of money that's required, and the fact that they tried to get that investment from Apollo, that didn't work. My fear is that the Elliott Management Group or other hedge funds would be dumb enough to just give the Glazers, that's worst case scenario, that they're going to be dumb enough to give the Glazers the between 1 and 2 billion that they need to build a new stadium. But then that money would be put onto Manchester United as debt. At what point did you can let me know in the comments, right? Hypothetical worst case scenario here. And I don't know whether there's any sort of legal protection for it. If the Glazers did find that the Elliott Group management, that a hedge fund from America said, you know what, lads? Here you go. Here's £2 billion. We'd like to invest in Manchester United. We don't really need to have a stakeholder in the club. We'll be minority stakeholders. You do you. Would the Glazers be allowed to then put that 2 billion onto the club as an extra loan? Would they be able to leverage that? What would they be putting up as their collateral to get that debt, to get that loan? Would they be putting Manchester United up themselves? Jonathan, I mean, Manchester United right now are losing about what? On our latest accounts, we were losing somewhere between £2 and £2.5 billion per week, weren't we? I've only just thought about that. Would they actually be allowed? I mean, look, they've been allowed to put this much debt on the club. What would stop it now? Comments down there. And how you doing, buddy? You're saying worst case, they get funding and use it to buy out their siblings and not invest in the club. That's what they tried to get in the summer from Apollo Investment. We all thought that they were going to Apollo Investment to try and get investment into the club, but no, they were just trying to buy their siblings out. Imagine that. You're going in business with your brother and sister, but you're just going behind their back to try and get an investment firm to buy them out, and you can't even do it. Let me know where you're watching from, Della Harp. Sorry, Rubade. I think Rubade. I think there's been a couple of. Let me check down here. Yeah, look at that, man. The community keeps going. It's amazing. Alex, thank you so much. And John Neild. How you doing, John? Hope you enjoy the game on Sunday. You're gifting 5 memberships, Alex. And John, you're gifting 10. Honestly, all of you. I can't wait to build. The website's going to be probably the most exciting thing, I think. That's going to be wicked. And you're helping me do that. Love you all. Love you all. Bet they didn't offer their they probably tried to undercut their siblings as well. Probably not paying them what their shares are actually worth in market value. Let's get the update here from Mike Keegan from the Daily Mail and what he's saying in the next steps this week, because this could be a very important week. I'm probably going to say that every week from now on, right? This could be an important week in the sale of Manchester United, because realistically, it could be every single week. From now on until the point where they sell, it could all we're just sitting and waiting. Let's read what Mike Keegan has said. Manchester United's bidders are expecting to hear back from the Rain Group this week as the share price drops 13% amid fears that Glazers want to remain in control of the club. Let's read the article. Bidders for Manchester United are expected to hear back from those running the process this week. Sportsmail understands that US merchant bankers Rain Group are set to reach out to those who sent in offers to either buy or make an investment in the Premier League giants. According to those with knowledge of the situation, the development comes after following another rough day for the club's share price. Let me see what's staying down there. As of yet, there are 2 known parties who want to buy the club: an offer from Qatari Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. We know that already. Any more updates down here? A soft deadline, we know that. It is unlikely that the first offers will be accepted. With a period of negotiation set to follow, there is a belief that the Glazers are seeking around £6 billion, a valuation some see as unrealistic. So that is both Mike Keegan there and James Ducker quoting the same price there, £6 billion. And if that is correct, and also that which is a lot of hypotheticals here, but if that bid from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani is around about $4.5 billion, and the Glazers do want £6 billion, then you're looking at a gap there of £1.5 billion in how much the bids are and how much the Glazers worth. That is nearly the price that Chelsea was sold for, which was like 2.25 billion. Obviously, they had the actual pledges of investment into the club XYZ, but that is a huge gap in prices, a huge gap. Anything else down here? As was the case with the bidding process for the sale of Chelsea, some of the groups involved may be put into contact with each other with a view to forming consortiums, which I spoke about all the time with INEOS, about whether or not that could happen. Nothing down there. Nothing down there. Aside from offers to take over the club, there are offers of investment. We know that full well. Man, there's nothing else down there. It's just all guff. I wish that I could come here with really exciting, big news. The Glazers are leaving. They're off. Goodbye. See you later. The reality is the Glazers are doing pretty much exactly what all of us expected them to do. To play hardball. Play unrealistic hardball. But Manchester United are not worth anywhere in the region of £6 billion. But that won't stop them asking for it. That won't stop them digging their heels in and saying, no, until you give us this, we're not selling the club. And Manchester United as a football club are stuck in that position. They do not care what the best thing for our club is. They never have. They only care how many zeros are in their bank accounts. That's what drives them. And you know what the disgusting thing is that I can't remember the figure that was put on it, but I think even if the Glazers sold Manchester United for somewhere like in the region of 4 to 4.5 billion, it will make roughly somewhere between 15 and 20 times more than the initial investment that they put into the club, let alone the fact that they've already taken out around about 160 million in dividends, and let alone the fact that they've already taken out around about 1 to 1.5 billion in interest repayments and that debt being serviced. On top of that, they're going to make somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 times how much they actually put in of their own cash into it. It wasn't even their cash. It was their dad's cash. Just sickens you. It really does sicken you. Unfortunately, as somebody put down there, Carl, they're dragging their feet. Let's not be too surprised about that. But hey, I think this week, I hope so anyway. I hope that we're going to be finding out some positive news. Because at the point where it goes from the Rain Group back to the bidders, then we're going to have to, we're in second bid territory. We're at the point where there already is a level of due diligence. Now, if you don't know what due diligence is, that's when you get the books, you read all the books, the financials, and you say, okay, what you're saying Man United is worth, is it truly worth that? The accounts that you're saying, are they correct? We're going to take a look at these books ourselves, and we're going to come to our own conclusion as to how much we think Manchester United is worth. And then a period of negotiation will properly follow. It's not until that second bid goes in, really, that I suppose we'll know whether or not this is really going to take some time. Jason is saying, Sam, what about the white papers that could have an effect on them? Look, that's actually a good point there, Jason. Exactly what I was just saying, that surely the logic of the Glazers somehow finding that £1.5 to £2 billion worth of investment and then just leveraging that debt on the club, Is that something that these new white papers would block? Because they should have blocked it. There should have been a white paper originally back in 2005 that stopped the leverage takeout of Manchester United happening in the first place. Is there something that would stop if they try to effectively double down on that and leverage even more against the club? Instead of the money required to buy the club, it will be the money required to bring I wouldn't say the basic level of infrastructure, but it kind of is. The basic level of infrastructure of a football club is the football stadium and the football training ground. They are your basics. It's just the level of Manchester United and the size of us. The amount required for those two are ridiculous. But our basic level of infrastructure, our club's ground and our club's training ground are both way behind Premier League rivals. Not even Premier League rivals. Leicester have got a better training ground than us. I think Brentford have got a newer one as well. Could they try and do the same thing again? And I wouldn't put it past them. They got that leverage to buy the club in the first place. If they can find that leverage to invest without spending their own money, they will try and do that. And that's the fear that everyone's got, right? That's why we're seeing stories like this. But at the same time as Manchester United winning a trophy, Man United, from a footballing perspective, looking as good as we could. That was after a week where we beat Leicester, came from behind to beat Barcelona, and then we won the League Cup. And then Manchester United's share price drops 10%. That's the share price correcting itself a little bit after that artificial high that was created when the idea of the Qatari takeover came in. Now, I'm worried. I'll be honest. I'm very, very worried. I think I'm gonna keep my green and gold up here on both sides. I've even got it on my chest as well until they go. Although Ten Hag he's looking happy now, isn't he? He's looking happy. I'm going to go down here and read a few of your, because I like to hear your opinions on this. Let me get some of these up. Fatty, it's kind of a fair point, and it's related to it's the same conversation you have around transfers a lot of times as well. A player is not worth X. It doesn't matter what your opinion is. That player is worth what the club who's selling it thinks he's worth and what someone is willing to pay. Was Enzo Fernandez worth 120 million euros? No, he was not. Nobody is under any illusion that he was. But Chelsea were willing to pay it. And it feels like the Glazers and the Rain Group are taking that logic and applying it to the sale of Manchester United. And if it were, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and put my feet in their shoes, and I shouldn't be doing that, I know. But you can understand why the Rain Group would say that, because if people are mad enough to buy players like Enzo Fernandez for 120 million, why don't you just try and just get more for United? Look, you've even got someone from Qatar coming after you. You know full well how much they're worth. It is a high-stakes game of poker. Unfortunately, Manchester United is on the table. And our club is stuck in limbo. And what makes it worse, and I said this already, I'll say it one more time. What makes it worse is how good it feels to watch Manchester United right now. How much positivity there is in the football club. After years and years of just up and down, and we don't know what's going on, and we don't trust this, and we don't trust that. We blame the players, we blame the coaches, and it's like a spectacular catastrophe. United feel united again. Genuinely. Ten Hag has connected fans back to this club. And that sort of repair work that he's done this year was just unexpected on the scale that it's happened. All the new signings and how good they've been. And where we are now compared to where we were 9 months ago. That's what makes all of this worse. Unfortunately, I don't think this is... We had the initial deadline, didn't we? The end of March. Were we dreaming? Yeah, that probably was dreaming. I don't personally see a quick solution to this. I don't. Tobias, you're saying, look, if the Qataris want the club, they'll get it. The Qataris will not just pay what the Glazers want them to pay simply because the Glazers want it. The Qataris will do their own due diligence. They will read the books. And from a statistical and analytical point of view, using data, they will tell the Glazers how much they think the club is worth. But the Glazers will just add a few zeros onto the end of it. Why not? And it is. It's why not for them. Bob, you're saying, I just hope it's done before the summer transfer window. Ten Hag deserves that backing in the window after what he's producing. Yeah, he does. I mean, we were backed in the summer transfer window, but we were backed on the credit card. All the store credit cards are maxed out now. SS, you're saying, look, when an entire nation state is interested in buying a club, the asking price is obviously going to inflate. I would say here, I try to. They are trying to create that separation, saying it's from a private Qatari takeover bid. But yeah, that's all we are, Scott. Man United has become a pawn in what's going to be a very horrible high-stakes game of poker. I'm going to be speaking to Ben Jacobs. I hope I'll speak to him today to try and get a little bit more from the inside story, what he's hearing from the Qatari side of you, from both of those bids. What is next? We're hearing from Mike Keegan that the Rain Group are going to be contacting them this week. I'll bring you updates as soon as I have them. All right. I won't sell you headlines that aren't correct, but the Glazers, they are being greedy. They aren't running away from this club, and they are going to sit there until they get as much possible money for us. And unfortunately, by the sounds of it, at 6 billion, you're looking at a price gap of probably in excess of 1 billion of what Manchester United really is worth compared to what the Glazers want. And that, I think, is going to cause some serious, serious delays. I wish I had better news here this morning. I really, really do. And I'm hoping that there is better news by the end of the week. All right. I'm going to... It's, I suppose, unusually short. We normally go on for a little bit longer than 46 minutes. But I'll wrap this one up today. Yesterday was all about the cup final, and it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Today is all about the Glazers. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say it's the best of news because it looks like they are digging their heels in and listening to the advice they're getting from the Rain Group. Ask for more. Let's find out what happens when the Rain Group goes back to these bidders. What's going to be their next steps? I will cover it all here on United People's TV. As you know, I will. Now, today at lunchtime, my starting 11 video is going to go out for the Newcastle. Not Newcastle. Already beaten them 2-0, mate. It's going to go out for the West Ham game. A game on Wednesday and a game on Sunday. Liverpool at Anfield. Huge. But thank you all for tuning in today. As to JVD, to everybody, I apologize, who gifted memberships. Every day you do it, it's amazing. You're helping take this channel onwards. All these conversations I'm in behind the scenes, they are so exciting, and you're helping me get there. So big up to every single one of you. I'm going to be giving, as I said, I'm going to be giving that scarf away. That's the rep. By the way, arseholes who are putting those on eBay. Man, the club gave them. Honestly, some humans, man. The majority of humans are not nice people. That's something I think in life. Finish on a positive note, Sam. But anyway, you're all great people. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Make sure you check out my West Ham video. It goes out starting 11. I think there should be massive changes. Absolutely has to be for that game. Take it easy.